Danny, get in the chopper! A digital psychedelic revolution of the mind.
Paleolithic emotions.
Medieval institution. Godlike technology.
It's time to start thinking globally.
And acting locally.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
Blessed by the name of Benjamin, this is Ben.
And Ben.
Riding the AI wave. Vitality, vivaciousness, oxidization, revitalization,
Gamma rays.
breaking through the walls, the barriers, the limitations, breathing. I love how some good breath work will bring up all the crud, all the pollutants, all those pieces that I have let and allowed into my body, whether consciously or unconsciously. And that intentional breath work stirs that all up and starts to work it out.
It's a filtration system. I guess like our nose, when we breathe in through our nose, it filters a lot of bad air. I feel like breath is that.
There's a beautiful statistic about the difference between breathing in through your nose versus breathing in through your mouth. Yeah, check it out.
Yeah.
Thanks, statistic. I think they were even talking about maybe living longer or the clarity or purity of the air that you're bringing in, the amount of pollutants. I mean, we're given our own filtration device, our own HEPA filter, our own air filter that is constantly filtering everything. So, I mean, why not breathe in through your nose?
Yeah. Let's get some mouth tape. A lot of people.
Well, there's many that maybe fight against the open mouth breathing, or maybe when they sleep, breathing through their mouth versus nose. Thus those nasal strips open up the passageways. Have you ever done those?
I use those. I used them last night.
Oh.
In fact, so.
And you've noticed a difference?
Yeah. You're a bit more, can't you see how refreshed I am this morning? Not really, but I think it does help, and like sometimes the mouth tape does help as well. There
literally is mouth tape, like duct tape. Yeah. You just duct tape your mouth.
Sometimes doctors even recommend mouth tape for you. I ChatGPT'd it.
Oh,
and, yeah. It seems a little bit dangerous, taping your mouth at night if you're congested. But yeah, I know some guys who do it. I swear by it too.
Wow. I imagine that would also help in case you're living in an environment with spiders and spiders that crawl in your mouth. Is that a thing? Do spiders, cockroaches, insects find a home in your mouth when we sleep?
Yeah, I think we swallow a couple spiders in our lifetime.
At least.
But it's a good source of protein, so it's fine.
So no worries.
As long as they're not like a black widow, you're good.
I would think. What an interesting start to today's episode.
Cut all that.
It is such an honor to be with you again on this incredible, beautiful day with Ben
and Ben
riding the AI wave. And today, this wonderful episode brought to you by fruit, because it's outside and everywhere, and it's so good for you. So go outside and pick some food off of a tree.
Plant it, pick it, water it. It's that simple. It's yeah.
Johnny Appleseed was a boss, and I'm not sure the legitimacy or how historically accurate the story and the legend of Johnny Appleseed is. I heard it was like kind of same but kind of different than what we were taught growing up, but I love the premise. travel across the lands, planting trees, planting food.
That's powerful. That's basically Jesus. Performing miracles, minus the performing miracle.
Well, I suppose Jesus did walk the lands providing nourishment to the people and planting those seeds of spiritual growth and development.
Is that literally it? He just walked the land planting seeds. Or
Yes.
Johnny Apples. Seems
But then wasn't
a
the
lot of
thing-
people could do that.
I mean, here
What's so
in,
special about him, though? I don't even know.
here in Maui, that was one of the first things I really took to note when I moved to the Big Island, say 6 years ago, and how fertile the land is here. Like literally, I'd throw out some papaya seeds, and literally the next week I would see this tree starting to like pop up. 6 to 8 months later, you've got a lush papaya growing off of the tree that you can eat.
Yeah.
There's your breakfast.
I got a story for you about that.
Okay.
One of the guys who lives up country, way up country, Kapau or something like that. He, like the resorts bought some land and he cut down this tree that was the resorts bought, and he took it and he planted it in his land and it started growing roots. And I was like, I didn't even know you could do that to trees. You just cut them down and like take them to another place.
So he literally
So he
cut
did-
off the trunk of it and just stuck it in the ground?
He didn't uproot it. Yeah, he just cut it off and stuck it in the ground, and it worked. I was like, dang, anything
What
goes.
kind of tree was that?
I'm not sure.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, does that speak to the wonder of that tree or to the soil or of some divine, powers this man has to grow? Like, that's a green thumb.
It's not dead yet. I don't know.
That's the thing.
It couldn't have been like a mature tree that big. But, I mean, you can fuse trees together. They're magical. Well,
Grafting, the art of grafting trees.
yeah, you can graft. There
which has propagated the world of the pomme de terre, the apple of the earth, as they would, apple. Oh, that's a potato. I'm sorry. In French, a pomme de terre would be a potato, but a pomme, I believe, is an apple. But have propagated the apples. Grafting has, bringing in one set of DNA that can work alongside of and get along with another set of DNA that's close enough but different, and yet the one can support the other into a full and mature life, prosperous life.
Amazing. There's a tree that's like a guy spent years growing. It's like a bunch of trees grafted together into one tree. It's like several different. It looks like incredible.
Wow.
All these different kinds of leaves together on one tree.
Wow.
Pretty
Different
amazing.
colored leaves.
And I think
I'm
you have to be
guessing.
like an expert. Yeah. You have to be an expert to know how to do that too. But it was pretty cool. John, what's so special about Johnny? Did he know how to graft trees, stuff like that? Or
I don't think he was on the train of grafting back in the day.
No.
That may have been a technology that was that came after.
It's technology. It seems ancient, like ancient as ayahuasca.
Ancient
Mushrooms.
ayahuasca. Like that. Little alliteration for you.
Oh yeah.
Straight from the jungle of Peru.
Just have to. Yeah. How did you discover grafting? It's just like, oh, I'm going to take two parts of a different plant, put them together, and hope that something happened. But the guy said to me, I was like, dang, that's surprising. I said the same thing that you did. And he's like, yeah, you can go and grow a broomstick in Hawaii.
That the land is
And
so
that-
fertile, it's like you can even grow a broomstick.
Yeah, that was his go-to phrase for it. It's true. It's very,
I love it. Do you see any parallels between the time-tested technique and technology of grafting trees, apple trees, and what the applications you could put into a further technological and innovative way moving into the future of having one solid base set of DNA and then having something that a DNA strand that is similar but different that is now supported by the base DNA. What other applications does that sound like?
It's like grafting human body parts onto each other. That's where our mind immediately goes, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
It's
it is.
immortality. I want to. Well, but you can't graft internal organs, of course. But in the name of immortality, I just like a Frankenstein tree.
They keep on talking about, like removing your kidney or your like liver transplants. Yeah, once you remove someone's kidney, can you just like put someone's kidney back on in there? Maybe give them another kidney, like double up like on the processing power of like filtering through all your waste.
Kidney transplants. They have to be like the same blood type and some compatibility things. Right?
It's out there. I mean, you can even grow your own organs. I mean, with your own cells and proteins. And what are the little guys called? The stem cells. With the stem cells and the stem cell research and growing organs based off of your DNA, specially curated for you. It's literally your organ. I mean, and that's been a piece of science that Armenian white coats have been delving into for years now. Of in the medical field, before it was impossible or would take years to find a donor that would match your specific unique DNA and body. Mm-hmm. And now, with this research, now being able to grow your very exact organ, and if it goes kaput, then a replacement is offered. And you brought up, living forever, or this pursuit of longer life, healthier life.
Yeah. What if we go into a store and it's just a bunch of beautiful organs? You're like, oh, you know what? I'm feeling like a new liver today, a new appendix, and it's just like a
Okay.
like we go to the arboretum, or whatever.
I'll pick up what you're putting down, except it's more like a virtual grocery store of your own organs, but like they gamify it, and it comes with upgrades. You can get a normal, plain old, same organ, or you can have improved functioning, high performance. Like, that's literally going to be a thing. You can buy your replacement organs, and you're given the option of having a high performance organ.
What? I don't need any high. I don't know what you're talking about. Any high performance organs.
Well, exactly. Like,
Performing just fine, Ben.
God, some might debate this, but God created us perfect. God created us with everything that we need to function in this world to our greatest capacity.
God created us with the ability to create. Created us as gods. And with AI, created us with the ability to create something that could be greater than ourselves, humanity, and could live longer than ourselves. Actually, our children too. That's true now, because our children will live longer than ourselves.
Because what's a life but an expression of the possibility of life? Mm-hmm. These expressions that we have inside of us, these challenges and lessons, the joys and the woes, sometimes you hear the full experience, the full human experience. Essentially anything that you can experience, that's part of the human experience. Anything that you feel, anything that you sense, a sensation, a thought, a feeling, a pain.
What you're saying is not unique to you. It's unique to humanity. You think it feels special to you, but throughout the ages, everyone has felt like this. There may be many people who've thought the same thoughts, felt the same way. as you.
I think that begs the question, do you, Ben, have unique thoughts that are special and different than anyone else? Do you, do I? Do you have some piece inside you that is so unique that no other person in the other billions of humans possess?
We have about 100 billion neurons and they have different parameters and different ways that they fire. So like that's going to create some aspect of uniqueness, as long, paired with our physical uniqueness. I think there's a lot of like uniqueness found in that. We have DNA is so varied and unique too. So if you just look at it from an informational point of view, we are very unique. We're not like ChatGPT, where ChatGPT is going to come up with the same thing every time. Pretty much. It's the same. Yeah, it's the same network. It is very powerful, but it's not like we're all our separate ChatGPT versions of ChatGPT, trained in a special, unique way.
Exactly. Based off of all of the experiences, all the impressions, and those are completely unique. No two humans, even twins, biological, same, cellular,
Same.
cellular, same. Even then, they've experienced different lives. They've experienced different impressions and feelings based off of those. They are completely unique individual than any other creature on the planet. Do you think that's some kind of saving grace? Something that keeps us in this matrix, keeps us playing this game, this feeling of uniqueness, that we're somehow special in this some way, and we have something to achieve or access in this lifetime that no one else can do because you're special and you were brought here for some purpose.
That's what we tell our kids right now. You're special.
You're special.
Why do kids need to be told that?
Why
Is
do
that
they
like
be
something it was just our generation unique to us?
I mean, there's some inherent aspect of building up one's confidence.
Yeah, ego.
Yeah. Is confidence and ego the same?
No, certainly not.
And so we'll talk building up one's confidence, that ability to then go out into the world and act decisively and do. At least in my life, I find the struggle. I have all these ideas, all these intentions, all these possibilities, but what am I actually doing? Right now I feel very fulfilled because we're doing this. We're doing this, creating something in these words, in this moment, in this breath. We are alive and making a difference. Or not.
But we're putting it out there.
We're
doing it. We're not just thinking about doing it.
Right. And so what are those factors that allow any individual to turn the possibility, the thoughts, the maybes into action, into actually going out there and making some kind of difference in this world, making some kind of difference in their own life and for those around?
Say caffeine is its ingredient. and then money. Lots and lots of money.
This act of doing something brought to you by coffee, a drug for the common people. Cheers.
Just speaking personally, what about you? I mean, what brings you from like idea to execution to people love what you've done?
I think being so sick of not doing something, being such in a place of like self-woe of what have you done? I haven't done anything. What am I doing? Like, does any of this matter? Like, I'm caught in this same routine of life. Ugh. And then it's like there's this like spark in there of like, but you gotta do something. You gotta connect the dots, Ben. You gotta connect the dots and fill out a greater picture. any one experience, any one interaction, any one morsel is simply just a dot, a star, as grand and powerful as any star may be. It's not until you start connecting those dots that you get a more full and defined picture. And I think it's in those pictures that we really see life. We really feel life. We really let life come in. You know, you must give love to receive love. You must open your heart to have it filled. And so by doing, you're working with life. You're working with spirit. You're working with this existence and saying, I'm doing something, and may I receive something.
So it's an exchange for what you've been given. You want to give back. If you've been given a lot, you want to give back more.
There's some inherent feeling of that, isn't there?
If you do give a lot, and then you feel like you will receive later.
That trust that you're going to receive.
Yeah.
Though I think isn't there also the premise? It's like, oh well, you know, you don't want to give with the expectation that you should have to receive that, or that you need to receive back.
That can kill your artistic passion and your whole fire.
Or the heart and the realness of helping someone, or of that action. You know, there's a lot of service right now, a lot of volunteering here on Maui. You know, Lahaina strong, Maui strong. Like, this is a time when so many people need help, and it's, you know, my heart just opens every day when I see how many people are pouring in to volunteer, to help, to assist, to serve in any and all ways. It absolutely brings me back to a beautiful place of humanity and a trust in humanity, and the ohana, that feeling of connectedness with our community here on Maui.
Mm-hmm.
Have you felt that, Ben? Have you seen that?
Yeah, it's so big. I mean, people come into the island like, what can I do? Oh, everyone's already taken care of right now because of the ohana. Everyone's already given so much. Talked to that couple last night, Paul and his girlfriend.
Yes.
And they came with, you know, the attitude of wanting to give to the island, and they did. Like, they're like, well, I really, so much is already being done. We're just gonna spend money here and have a good time.
Well, and not
also
just
good.
And not just spend money, but to you know, bring money into the island, to bring money into these small business owners, to bring money into the farmers markets, and to the craftsmen, and to the artists, and to each of these levels that make up our community here that have been affected on so many levels. The ripples we're still feeling, and we're still riding these waves of these ripples coming out from the Lahaina fires, from the Kula fires, from the Olinda fires, from the North Kihei fires. I mean, we've been hit. We've been hit
Hard.
and it's been this time of coming together and helping, how each person has been called.
Yeah, I have a friend who lost all his artwork, then another friend who lost his van, his $60,000 van with his laptop, all his drone videos inside of it. It was a gorgeous van.
Top of
Showed
the
it was
line.
all built out, and yeah, another guy lost a
Well,
bit of artwork as well.
That fella, I mean, his whole life was inside that van. His passport, his identification, all his credit cards. I mean, he lost everything. I mean, it's like, even if your home is completely contained inside of one pimped out Sprinter, that's home. That's your whole life, and now that's gone. And like so many times throughout history, we see absolute devastation and this rebirth in this time of building yourself back and putting yourself back together in each of these pieces, and coming back to a place of directed focus. Where do I want to put my energy, my life, my priority? It's like, is this still important? Do I still want to live in this van? Do I still want to?
Another thing is like the realization, I came to this when I was here on the island, that like, you can build up something for so long and it just takes a moment, and it's gone,
Hmm.
no matter what it is in your life.
Hmm.
And that was so real with this,
Hmm.
especially if you go there.
I mean,
So we should just be grateful for everything that we have, anything, for a moment that we have, this moment. And we can talk here. We're surrounded by beautiful artwork by Parker Dention.
love Parker. I absolutely love this piece. Love, love, love this piece. This journey through the chakras, through the individual self.
Oh, yeah, it was beautiful.
I won't give away all the secrets on it or all my artistic intuitions and
Did he tell you
talents on
about it was the chakras, or is that your interpretation? Because there's 7 chakras and 7 shapes there.
I mean, it's pretty clear when you see red, orange, yellow, green, up to purple, that those are the chakras, and they're placed in the root chakra, sacral, solar plexus, up in the heart, the throat chakra, the third eye, the crown chakra, and then beyond. So, I mean, for me, it plays pretty clearly as the chakras.
I agree 100% with your interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
And then the skeleton behind the chakra.
Right.
It's interesting that it's a skeleton and not something with flesh and bone.
Right. It's like this skeleton, that's something that is universal to, we were just talking about the uniqueness of humans. Well, here's the absolute common denominator.
Stripped it down.
We're all just a bunch of bones. Of bones and energy. And underneath this all, this is the very base physical representation. And now here, illustrated and represented, these levels of vibration, these vibratory rates that hold their center and that connection to those vibratory planes within this one body and vessel.
You can feel it in your bones. Feel the chakra in your bones.
Down to your
that's a
deepest
common
core.
phrase. Yeah.
I guess that would be the marrow, but it's kind of hard to just show marrow. Marrow or marrow?
Marrow.
Marrow. Yeah, make some bone broth with that. Marrow.
It's supposed to be good for you. Bone
The
broth.
best for you.
Maui Nui sells some bone broth for $150. Have you seen how expensive the venison on Maui Nui is? .com. It's crazy expensive, and then we had some last night for free, which is thanks to this episode is brought to you by
Tui's Butchery, a place of the finest, most ethical butchery on Maui. Come on down to Tui's.
All meat is USDA approved.
We thank the island for providing. Oh, yeah. Where have we been?
So the fire. Oh yeah, I was thinking. I thought about the clones.
Yeah.
Identical twin, and would you want we have Ben and Ben here, but would you? What if you wanted had another Ben around all the time?
Same
Same,
Ben
same.
Ben
Yes.
and Ben. The
No,
same Ben.
same DNA as you. Another Ben, and it's so fascinating that a lot of these identical twins just hang out together and just live in the same space their entire lives with couples, and they find other identical twins to pair up with.
Did you see the picture of the
Seriously.
two identical twins, and then they married another set of identical twins, and then they both pairs had identical twins?
No kidding.
Not kidding. Fact.
Identical.
Identicals.
Can they do that, or was it just completely coincidence? I think.
I mean,
What are the odds of having an identical twin?
science fact. There's a statistic and probability and percentage for everything. I mean, and that's the thing with data. With enough data, we're able to produce enough results and these future projections. These projections of what is possible.
Yeah, but we were talking about uniqueness. Before?
Yeah. Okay. So back
And
on your
would
cloning.
you prefer to be born with an identical twin, as an identical twin?
Right.
Because then you're not going to be genetically unique, but you could have.
I can deal with, you know,
You can deal with that. You'd rather have a companion than be genetically. It's just a thought experiment in a way, in a parallel universe. But
we'll say there's like, you know, your identical quadruplets, and there's literally 4 of you. Like, would you just like?
I wouldn't like that. It's too many.
Wouldn't like that. That's freak me out. It's like, would you all band together and come up with a common goal and all work to achieve this common goal? Like,
Or would you go against each other?
or would you, or just go your separate ways and try to live a life unique, not connected with any of those, because you're striving for your uniqueness.
Yeah, that's how important. I don't think uniqueness is that important. It doesn't seem, because identical twins seem to be happy with each other. And like accepting that it's okay, I'm not genetically unique, or I don't have any special superpowers because this person had, and you're kind of amplifying each other. And this does tie back into AI, and our AI, how we can use AI to clone ourselves digitally and enhance ourselves in that way. It's like, is that a preferable thing? Does that make us less unique? If there's a 1,000 different Ben AIs out there that are just like me, what makes me, human me, different?
Maybe the spontaneity. But even you can program some spontaneity just to like insert random fact every 50 sentences.
But I'm a different me when I'm having coffee. I'm a different me
Yes.
when I do meditation. After I do that,
Yes.
I feel different, and be like, how do you model that digitally? But so your digital you would just be like present you, well balanced.
That's your like the baseline.
Yeah.
You.
It would be the best you possible. I think.
Like
How do you-
party Ben versus like teacher Ben versus
Yeah.
you know, beach Ben versus, you know, studying Ben versus, you know, parent and father Ben versus lover Ben. Like all these different distinctions that we go in and find ourselves, define who we are. I mean, I think that's why I think we're still such a long way off of having an AI representation that is fully a accurate depiction of who I would be. Like even if I answered all the questions, you know, went through the different personality profiles, inputted all the data, put in all the photos, put in all the voice memos, all the videos of years of my life, would that AI, what kind of representation of a human life would that spit out on the other side? Can we pump that into a now Boston Robotics, you know, or a Tesla robot, human assistant, you know, in my life? Like, is that me looking across like at this robot? It's like, that's you to help you.
It's always good to have like somebody else finish your sentence. I don't know, not necessarily, but yeah, it's what you're saying about like, is it really you? Is it you in every situation? I think it would just know the situation and know where to look in the data for how you acted in the situation, to be like, all right, based on everything that he's done in this situation before, this is how he would act. This is what he would say.
Or at least give it like some multiple choice. It's like, in previous situations, you've reacted like this. Choose A to respond
Just choose
like this, or this.
I think the future of software is just going to be LLMs talking to each other. Like, yeah, one LLM will generate one thing, and then you choose which LLM response is better, and then a bit of human interaction.
But then I think it's still starved of real human input. I think still one of the greatest resources of the future of said AI large language models is still what is real input and
Right.
actions from humans and from the humans that pertain to the action. So it's like there'll always be this grasp for new data, for more data. And that's why our YouTubers and streamers and all the people in front of cameras sharing with everyone else will be so valuable, because this, even from the inflections and all the my facial like contourings, each one of those things is saying something else.
Yeah. A lot of the creative jobs will sadly be taken up by AI.
Well, that's
But-
what they're saying, and that's a big piece right now. It's like, why, with all this superpower and intelligence, are we not going after the medical fields, the law fields, the like health,
racket.
social justice?
Those fields are rackets, you know.
Like, so they're all capitalistic, and they're going after the artists that just want to make some art and express themselves.
Right. People that are struggling the most.
They're going after those jobs and positions. It's almost like we have a comment from off the side here from a Lahaina artist, and I'm sure we'll be able to hear you. What is it, Podge?
Are you guys live right now?
We sure are.
Oh, stay alive.
Stay
He said
alive.
stay alive.
Yes.
You wanted to
See,
throw
like
in
that. I don't think an
there. We were
AI
just
would say
talking
that,
About that. We were just talking about this life and how precious it is.
right?
Stay
Stay alive.
I had other input, but I'll save it for when you guys aren't live.
All right. That was Podge, one of our dear friends, and a Lahaina artist, a Maui artist, an artist beyond measure, and a future guest here on Ben
And Ben.
Riding the AI Wave. We'll be right back after these messages. Mahalo.
So we can't even hear Podge anyway. Podge, we can't even hear you on these microphones. They wouldn't pick you up.
He's faintly in the background.
Are you guys still live?
We are, and now we're back with Ben.
Still here? Are you guys live?
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
we just keep the record on and then we like edit it.
Oh, you can edit this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still watch out. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very.
This is rad. I can't hear you guys very well. I was gonna be like, you guys should speak louder, and it seems to be coming across. You're smiling a lot, which looks good, but it feels kind of dull. So I was just gonna give you input that you guys could like somehow make it have a little more
Energy on my end.
Action.
Your end especially is like that. Okay.
I know, Podge.
This needs a little more. Hey man.
Well, you want to get in
Okay.
here?
I'm just trying to liven it up.
Yeah, no,
I used to
thanks.
do this for work too.
Oh,
So
nice.
I'm just giving you guys input.
Thank you.
That's why you guys can crush it. This is good stuff you're asking. Just need to.
It's part of the dynamic. I'm all colorful and lifelike, and then he's just deadpan gray and
Yeah.
I'm trying to be quiet over here.
No, you're doing great.
I thought maybe you're live on Facebook.
This is hilarious, Podge. We got.
We could do some
just-
live Facebook with the audio pawns. There we go.
Yeah, this guy needs some work.
yeah.
We all do. We all do. After it was amazing after the fires. I remember, being pretty active for the first 3-4 days, and then just like dropping off and just needing time away and just like time to like decompress. And there was a time maybe like in between 1 and 2 weeks where my nervous system, and I heard it from person after person after person, maybe around the same time, which makes me think we got like blasted by some kind of like 5G ray. Boom. But it makes me think that all of us were going so hard that our nervous system literally just needed to like shut down. And I was like on my way to a birthday party. I showered, got ready, and then I just had to sit down. And then I couldn't get up, and I just had to lie down. And I wasn't lying down on a bed. I was just like lying on the floor, and I was like literally could not get up. And I was like, what is this? This is so incredibly strange. I want to get up. I can't get up right now.
Was this after visiting Lahaina?
Yeah.
That happened to me too.
Yeah.
Just
Tell me about
a
that.
couple of days. You're lacking energy and you don't know why. and you're just like, oh, is this having an effect on my subconscious? I thought I was emotionless and maybe I still am, but it's just affecting your subconscious when you see something as devastating as that in a way you don't really know. And that's never happened to me before, but I've never seen something on the scale of this. Have you? I mean,
I don't think any of us have.
it makes you
especially-
wonder and appreciate the first responders, what they have to deal with.
Yeah.
I was listening to a reporter, and he said, like, every reporter has had a breakdown emotionally, psychologically, all that.
Those that
From
have
what
been
they've
on the
seen.
front lines.
Yeah.
And not just in Lahaina, but generally? Or you're talking specifically
No,
Lahaina?
in Lahaina specifically. They said they've never seen anything like it, and they've just broken down. Like,
Yeah, it's absolutely. I mean, I don't know how to process it. I fly my drone. I really love the greater perspectives, gained by flying. I have a cousin. She's incredible. She's a pilot. I'll see like some of her photography of what she sees below her, and I've always maybe related it to like soul travel or that flight of consciousness to wherever. And so flying this drone and flying over some of the neighborhoods that were once so alive and now just black in ashes and completely leveled, and the remnants of what was, and block after block after block, house after house after house, life after life. There's a piece of me that almost feels shameful or guilty for not feeling more. Or maybe that's just, it's still in process of just being with what that is, what that means.
I was thinking like the 5 stages of grief are I think I can name 4, but denial is the first one, and then anger, then depression is one of them, and acceptance is the last one. I don't remember. There's one I'm missing, but so we've seen a lot of this on the island, and depression. We're experiencing that. That's what we're talking about now. We've heard a lot of anger, certainly, and I've experienced anger as well. And like somebody said, they don't really happen in order as well.
Right.
Do you think that they happen in order or not?
I think I've seen very clearly that in each individual they process differently.
Yeah.
And with that process of this disaster, it's, somebody seems fine and then they start breaking down. Somebody seems really, they're extremely angry and then they start breaking down. They start breaking down and they come into silence. There's a lot of people that have just kind of gone within. And there's a lot of people that are racing to help. In that first week, I was shocked. I was shocked at some of the individuals that were showing up to volunteer that had lost their whole home, that they lost everything, and here they were volunteering and helping to supply other families. And yet, I think that was part of their coping process of being able to serve and help.
Because others have lost more. Even if you've lost more than everyone, I mean, you still know that people need help, and that's a way of healing too. Helping is healing.
Helping is healing.
Write that down.
Helping is healing.
Yeah.
No, I've been working with a woman over on Kanapali, and she's acting as a hub of distribution and help and service out of her home. And she speaks of her daughter who was literally grabbed her child and just escaped the flames, battling through the smoke and through the flames, escaped being with their lives. And then to another who perished in the flames. speaking of a family member who has died, who lost their life, and there it's like shit gets real fast when you're speaking with somebody who is on the ground in the flames, fighting to survive.
You really talked. I don't know anybody who had that experience, so that is so. How did you meet them? Or
By helping and serving.
Yeah.
They came to.
wow, what a story.
It's and there's like this piece of like comparison in me. It's like I feel like I've lost something, but I don't have any right to speak in comparison to those that, I mean, it's their generational home. They've lived in this home, downtown Lahaina for generations. This is the old capital of all of Hawaii. This is the capital. Some of the oldest blood, some of the oldest lineages, connections to the cultural authenticity of the people. Lost. I was speaking with a friend that spent some time at one of the retirement homes downtown Lahaina. He's like, nobody got them out. There's no way to get all of these elders, all of the kapuna, out of this retirement home when the flames come. And it's like, how much generational wisdom and mana was held there.
What do you think about them selling their land? Because, like you said, they have generational homes that nobody wants them to sell.
Except for the people that want to buy.
Except for the people who want to buy.
And who are those people?
Who of Hawaii.
Yeah.
And the state doesn't want them to sell because the state would look really bad. But how are they supposed to move on with their lives and start a new life somewhere else?
Right.
If they're holding on to this land that isn't going to be buildable, or you can't do anything with it for
Years. That's one of my biggest thoughts and priority is the housing. Is the housing after the hotels and resorts dwindle up, because that's going to be done in October, November, when the holiday season comes in Maui. That's the tourist slam. We get hit by thousands of people every day. Thousands of people flying in, having their times. And it's been a lifeblood of this island, a tourist economy. And yet right now it's just so weird. It's so weird. It was so weird a week after, when I was driving through Lahaina and helping on the west side, and then going through into Haiku and passing through Paia, one of the only places that you could really do anything touristy, and that was open, and just people walking around with their ice cream cones. And their kids smiling and, go and get some flatbread pizza, and go over here. Like, I was like, what kind of break in reality?
Felt too normal, didn't it? Yeah.
More than just like normal. It was like, vacation. Like vacation happy times versus apocalyptic disaster and death. And literally, in 20 minutes, driving from one place to another and holding both of those, feeling both of those worlds, too much.
You go into Target. And like everything's in stock. People are going about their business as if life is normal and nothing happened. You go into Taco Bell and just like there's no discernible difference anywhere on the island, which is just really spooky.
And I think in part, that's also part of the recovery process of where is normal. Is it okay for normal living, with this disaster right next door? I stated over and over, it feels like, we were all waiting for the apocalypse, and then it happened just to our next door neighbor. And so it's like, well, it happened, but it happened to them, and now it's just how do we show up, to support and help our neighbor. that's gone through this while we're kind of going through it, but not like they did.
Is guilt, is that one of the stages of grief that we're missing? Is that the one? Survivors, guilt.
I mean, that is a real thing. That is real.
So should we not go on, carry on as normal as we do, or should we, how should we carry on?
I keep on going back to, it's part of the process. It's part of the journey. It's part of integrating what has happened with how we can move forward in the best way possible. That's why when the resorts and the hotels kick everyone out, there's going to be at least 2,000 people, 4,000 people displaced by these fires, all of a sudden homeless. They don't have a home to go back to. What provisions is FEMA making now? Like, they're the ones that are responsible. They're the ones that are responsible for housing those in the disaster. And it's wild. This is one of the only disasters in the world where the Red Cross has handed the authority back over to the people. Red Cross, I mean, has not stepped up very well for this disaster. They're here. They flew in their helpers. You know, like, the level that they've been providing versus the people on the ground. The community members that have been showing up for each other has just been spectacular. I mean, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for everyone who has showed up for this. It's just amazing what you can do when you can move beyond the red tape of a big organization and get people directly what they need when they need it. There were so many times, you know, Red Cross like, no, we can't release these supplies to you. Oh, the forms, the procedure, the da-da-da-da-da. Meanwhile, you put it up online and be like, look, this family needs this. Boom, they got it.
Mm-hmm. And they made it really hard. Sometimes they make it hard. That's good that they're stepping out of the way, the Red Cross. But, like, so many people are getting in the way. Government organizations of... Some people even they can't visit their homes where they used to be because it's still being guarded off by the police or National Guard.
The military. Yeah, the
military's here.
I mean, even those, I have another friend.
Most of the people that are over there in Lahaina are just protecting the areas and making sure other people don't get in. That's most of the people, probably half of them.
And maybe to their
The other half are
benefit
working.
because it sounds like
Dangerous.
it could be radioactive. It could be, I mean,
It's
granted
not
there is
radioactive, but there are carcinogens.
asbestos.
Yeah.
These are buildings that have been, a couple hundred years old and still filled with asbestos. And once that gets kicked up and it's in the air for 72 hours until it settles back down. And it's still not gone. You kick it up again and it's right back up in there. I have a friend, Mario, from New York.
Mario, it's a me.
It's a me. And he actually experienced the 9/11 incident, disaster. It's definitely a disaster. The 9/11 disaster. Oh, we're coming up on that.
Attack.
Wow. I mean, yes.
Yeah, it's
Monday, Tuesday. Saturday is the 9th, 10th, 11th. Yeah, Monday. This Monday. Wow. Anyway, he was there for 9/11, and he had family and friends there, and there were those that got the particulates in their lungs, and no, they didn't die right away. They died years later because of those particulates that are unable to leave the body, to leave the lungs, much like the asbestos right now in downtown Lahaina, that if you start breathing that in, no good.
I looked the stats up on that.
What's that?
On like the first responders, there was a study. Somebody did a study on like how many first responders have gotten cancer. Do you have a better chance of getting cancer if you're a first responder? And there's one particular type of cancer that you had a 200% chance more getting cancer if you're exposed to everything.
Wow.
But it was a specific kind. And then getting any cancer at all, you had about a 10% more chance of getting any cancer if you were a 9/11 first responder, which is surprisingly lower than I thought it would be,
Right.
10%. But there's a specific one and they're still trying to get funds to help these 9/11. Jon Stewart's involved with that.
Nice. Is that because of the PPE and the other protective, equipment that the first responders are using properly to, cut down on their exposure to these harmful materials?
Is what because the
The-
9% or
I'm saying
Or-
that the percentage is so low that 10% is what I would say is a low number for these responders to
get cancer, but so many people, like 1 in 2 people get cancer anyway. 1 in 3 maybe.
and look at those
That it's
statistics
like-
of in the last 10, 20 years versus 40, 50 years ago. I mean, what was even cancer 50 years ago? There was no cancer 50 years, 60 years
no
ago.
cancer.
No cancer. There's polio and chicken pox and ruminoid fevers or something. But no, there was no cancer.
Jamie, was that cancer? Bring out
Was
bring
it
out the stats.
No cancer. And so what is it in our society in these created particulates and chemicals and processed foods and these ways of life that we now live in where cancer is through the roof? I mean, it opens up a whole nother bag, but the fact of those vaccinated and took that jab, look at the cancer rates on that. I mean, cancer and
Cardiac, yeah.
heart are through the roof. This almost, I mean, there are few who I know that have been vaccinated that don't have any issues
It's a coin flip, Ben. It's a freaking coin flip.
of the DNA.
Not even, yeah, there's
Of their
there's
D-
that involved. Of course, DNA, specific types of cancer.
Well, then we're talking
Well,
about, is it targeted to those DNAs, to those different properties in the DNA? If it's just hitting those DNA, like, is it a coin flip? Is it a coin flip, or
Sometimes
is
it's not. Sometimes if you have a specific breast cancer, it's way worse than a coin flip. It's like 80 to 90% chance if you have a specific type of gene.
check yourself
And that's why-
regularly?
That's why like a lot of women get surgeries and they have parts of their mammary glands, was it, might be removed.
Yeah, I heard growing up from my mom, mammograms. They're just
No, mammograms.
really, really painful. And I swear there's a better way. Like, somebody invent a better way for a mammogram. than
Mammary.
Just
Mammary
smashing your
gland.
breast.
Did I say mammogram? I'm an idiot. But mammary gland, it might be that. But, and then for guys, I think,
Prostate.
yeah, prostate, we should, there's
Check
genetic,
yourself regularly.
I think there's genetic disposition for prostate cancer as well. So we could test ourselves genetically if we have more of a chance of getting that.
Same with heart or mental illness. Mental illness, what's that? Who doesn't have some form of mental illness? Throw depression and anxiety there. I mean,
What?
everybody's got some form of depression and anxiety, right?
What do you mean, colorful personality?
Colorful personality
Mental
disorder?
illness. Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
That'd be fun. More colorful personalities, please.
But like so if you exercise, you have a significantly less chance of getting cancer. There's a few things you can do. If you don't smoke, you have, if you smoke, you get a 50% more chance of getting cancer. So it's huge, of course. Everyone knows that. But exercising helps 20%.
Eating
but-
right, breath
Yep.
work, cold plunge.
I mean, there are things, there's studies that we know that like you can reduce, you can help the coin flip odds there.
Makes it less of a coin flip.
Yeah.
There's no coin anymore. When you start actively taking into your own hands and doing acting because you know that it's right and good. And I think that's a big piece. I mean, I want to address like doing what you believe and know is right versus what just somebody's telling you to do. You know, even like our doctors, like it's hard to even trust our doctors. Doctors used to be like the one person that you could absolutely trust that was for your best benefit. You know, if any of you have seen, what's it called, painkillers with Oxycontin, and bringing out the awareness of opioids and the great opioid, another pandemic or plague upon our people, upon society. Yeah, I mean, it's a time release heroin. They're making a bunch of junkies and addicts out of society. Why? Because they were in a car accident and they played sports real hard, and now they live with pain.
Did you see that documentary, Ben?
Most likely, Ben. What, the one, Painkillers?
Yeah.
What
was it, a documentary or was it a feature film? What is it? What film?
It's a series.
It was a docudrama?
A docu-series. Docudrama?
Docudrama series.
Yeah. I mean, Matthew Broderick, you know, Bueller's Day Off.
Okay, that one.
Yeah, he plays the main CEO, evil dude. He plays Matthew Broderick. Matty, oh boy, he's playing some creepy roles lately. He's like, there's like something ain't there anymore. There's something missing. Like there's a void up in that boy now. I don't know why he's playing.
Just an actor, though, right? He's
He's
not actually
just an actor.
Let me explain to you how acting works.
It's
not the person.
I mean, will you agree that some actors play some roles more naturally than others?
If they play the same role over and over, you just assume that that's them.
Owen Wilson.
Right.
Yeah, that I'm guessing that's kind of Owen Wilson,
basically.
Right?
Yeah.
Versus like some of the villains that you just see cast over and over and over. It's like, are they cast that way just because how they look and like some maniacal presence about them, or are they actually a little bit messed up inside?
I don't think they're messed up inside, but they can access that place for sure.
I guess first off, I'll say we're all a little bit messed up inside, but are they like really messed up inside? Actually, I met an amazing voice actor, and he actually is a villain. He's a villainous voice actor.
What?
Yeah, he's a pretty famous villain voice actor, and I was
you villains I know.
Yes. What is it? What's that line I really love? Well, and I also think it's societal cultural programming. It's definitely programming, but it's Wreck-It Ralph, and all the villains are sitting around the table, and they're in like Villains Anonymous, and they're like, it's okay to be bad. Bad is good. Like, and it's this mantra that they say over and over. And I'm really looking forward to our tech person inserting our clips for us. But he's one of the villains, and I was asking him, it's like, are the other villains like, how are they? They like cool guys? They like, or are they like kind of evil and stuff? And he was like, no, they're some of the nicest guys that you'll ever meet. You know,
because they have to be that much nicer.
I think
Like,
so, to balance
big
out.
dogs have to be they have to be more chill.
It's the gentle giant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's true, because like if they're more aggressive, people will be like, no, I don't want anything to do with this person. If you're like a tall person or a big dog, you have to be more chill, or people will be intimidated by you.
I know that story.
But like if you're a beautiful woman, you can yell at anyone you want to, because oh yeah, look at that, it's a nice little
She does get away with quite
The
a bit
opposite.
out there.
Yeah.
Okay. It feels like
But-
we digress. Where were we?
So
Back with,
villains, voice actors.
opioids, painkillers.
You got a friend. Damn, we really digressed. We really freaking digressed.
But that's also how we progress. You know, we fall down a rabbit hole, have an adventure, climb our way back out, have a good time. It's the journey, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere there's a destination towards social awareness, and I don't know, what are you guys getting out of it?
Just live a healthy lifestyle before you have to, people.
find more reasons to laugh and to love your life, to connect with others. I think that's what we're coming down to. Find connection, find your joy, find your pleasure.
That's great advice too.
Yeah. Find some way to serve. A lot of people, call that jobs.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't serve other people, you end up feeling so hollow. It's like, man,
With what purpose is there? Yeah, without some form of service and giving to, your family, your community, the world. Look at some of these Nobel Peace Prize rolling peoples. They're changing the world. They're making the world a better place.
Rusty Cole, the character on True Detective, Rustin Cole, whatever his name is.
No.
It's like, you really don't need you. The world can move on without you. It still feels good. It still feels good to serve, even though, like, if you go away, things will still move on.
Maybe just not as cool.
But you want to feel needed at the same time. You want to feel connected, rooted.
I've been at parties, gatherings where I've just kind of like sat back and like chilled and like, because I've had that question. It's like, what would this environment be without my presence in it?
Got the dark thought. We shouldn't even brought up that dark thought.
Well, I mean,
That's what we've been talking about since the beginning of the episode.
our uniqueness. Yeah. Versus, me stepping forward and acting and doing and being, being myself, being who I am in that space, which I would hope and think is uplifting it and bringing it to a level and experience that is more than if I did not. Like, the party would go on. People would, have a time, go home and think back the next day, oh, that was a nice time, versus the same thing with each of those people's, inputs and participation and that greater connection of experience held.
It's just, you have to blitz the party. Make sure everyone knows you're there. Take off your pants and jacket, as Blink-182 would say.
Oh, go time.
Be like, people definitely know you're there. And I don't know. If you're going to a party,
Yeah, like that.
just, and if you want to be remembered, you just do something crazy. People remember you. I don't know.
And how do people remember? What are you remembered for? What impression or feeling is that lasting piece that you're leaving on people?
It's true, because then you have to see them the next day, so you can't be too
I mean,
crazy.
if you're taking your
That's
pants
you.
off and streaking around, I mean, they do remember. They will be like, oh,
unique.
Yeah, but what are they remembering you for?
Mental disorder.
Also possible,
Remember not to invite you to the next one.
right? It's like
You're
that
too
might
over the top.
get you invited back for more parties or none at all.
But it's like we have to deal with that too, like, because there are a billion uploaded videos every day to YouTube. What makes us stand out? And we have to ask ourselves that question: what are we gonna do to be uniquely us? So we're constantly asking that, and it's just do something that people haven't seen before,
Or
and if
giving
you
a
haven't
perspective on it.
yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off on
If
that.
you haven't seen it before, other people probably haven't seen it before either. So it's just like, use yourself as your own barometer for what is unique, what is good.
Mm-hmm.
And watching yourself too, and analyzing yourself. And like, we have here other people analyzing us as we talk. And
Bringing perspective and awareness on what we're bringing through, on that uniqueness, and how that can be refined, how that can be brought out and accentuated or chilled the F down.
experiment, and then analyze that experiment. It's the most powerful idea. The past, I don't know how many thousands of years, is the scientific method.
Yeah, right. What, is that Newton? Who is the godfather of the scientific method?
That's a great question.
It feels like that's
Mendeleev.
definitely in there. It reminds me of like Limitless. The movie Limitless, Christian Bale, where he takes the pill and all of a sudden he can access all these parts of his brain and every little piece that he saw like throughout his life is just in there. A lot of times I wish I had that kind of recall.
We only use 10% of the brain. How would you like to use 100% of the brain?
That's the movie Lucy.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was Limitless.
With Scarlett Johansson and Morgan Freeman and some other cats. But yeah, no, that's a great movie.
Limitless. But Bradley Cooper was in that, not Bale.
Thank you. I often swap those two back and forth.
Really? They
Yeah.
don't look anything alike, Ben.
They've got a certain presence that, at least in my mind, are very similar.
So the local government, back to the fire.
Because, like you said, life is an experiment, and we can only move from there. We have a whole city that's in ashes and devastated, and we're in a stage of talking about that rebuilding the city, the culture, and community of Lahaina.
It's like, I mean, I want to discuss the anger aspect and then like the failure of the local government and Hawaiian Electric. Or would that be?
I mean, we could bring up the lawsuits between the county of Maui and Maui Electric. We can bring up the failures of these officials. We can bring up the failures of the fire department. We can bring up the failures of so many different aspects of this. And it's I think it's important to be aware of these so that we can make the changes and live and move forward in a world that we do want to be living in, and in a way that is safe for our community.
Yeah. You know what a fail stop is? It's like you have to fail so many different times. Like it's like if you're flying a plane, a commercial airliner, not just one thing has to go wrong, but like 5 different things have to go wrong.
Right.
With the weather, with like something wrong with the equipment, or whatever. But like there hasn't been a plane crash since 2009, so it's a very outlandish possibility that you'd have something go so wrong that you have a disaster, such as like a huge plane crashing. And it seems like so many things had to go wrong for this. It's like there's failure on like the local government like on so many different levels.
Do you know specifics of the failings?
Well, yeah, we could look at power lines going down. There were over 30 power lines that went down that night.
The extreme winds.
And it was 60, the extreme winds, but they should not, that many shouldn't go down. They should be kind of better built than that.
And they were informed about these hurricanes winds coming through, which should have set off the protocol of, they were talking about, it's like, yeah, we shut down the power.
Right.
And it's like when they shut down the power, when it wasn't.
Yeah, so it's like the building of, so I think it starts with the lack of quality building of the power lines themselves, number one. And then it's just like, okay, well, the high winds, they didn't trigger the shutdown of the power with the high winds and the 60-degree winds, which they should have in the dry conditions.
And
So
the
failure two.
overgrowth of all the foliage around the power lines.
They could have done that. And then there's also the failure of the notification systems and the alarms not being cued at all.
Because the dude that literally was on the button, he was like, "No, I didn't want to sound the alarms because it would instill panic in the people." Those people needed to panic and get out.
He thought they would run towards the fire because they thought it was a tsunami. And then this is the most infamous moment of the whole disaster, is like he was asked, "Do you regret not sounding the sirens?" And he said, "No, I do not."
Absolutely terrible. Just he could have saved so
Shocking.
many lives. Could have saved so many lives if he just did his job.
And
And
the
that's
reporter really did a great job there with asking that question too. Really pushed it. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, I think that's what we're also looking at in our focus of AI and bringing in technologies and bringing in smart cities. can that guy's position be replaced with AI and some kind of, beyond human error? Because right there, that was human error. There's a lot of human error that was going on that facilitated this mass disaster. We haven't seen a disaster like this since Pearl Harbor. Okay, Pearl Harbor, we were attacked, and we went to a world war. Some will say that we were attacked again, and thousands more lives lost here than Pearl Harbor.
Well, there's still a lot of people missing and a lot of people been counted, but it's unrecognizable.
The
You have
body
to get
count just
family's
keeps on going
DNA.
up.
You have to get the family member's DNA and test that against whatever remains there is of that person. Not even real bodies. But the failure is just, it's unbelievable. On the police, you talk about that, about like, okay, they're down road lines. Well, they're blocking in people from escaping the fire. And why weren't they opening those roads? Why weren't they just getting out of the way once they realized there's evacuation orders here and there's a bunch of cars backed up? Why were people being trapped in?
I would say that's one of the most highlighted failure. One police officer, with his orders, held up hundreds of people, a line. How long? I mean, you shot the footage. You saw the front street, and all of those cars lined up.
You can drive over a power line. You can drive over.
Yep, that would have definitely been an option. That one police officer that had his orders killed all of those people, and time again, people would come to that officer and be like, "Let us go," and he just, with his authority and power, sent him back to his cars and said, "Get back to your car. Get back to your car. Wait." Until literally the flames were upon those cars and people either trapped in their cars or fleeing for their lives, and it was just too late.
And Ben, you know who's securing the area right now?
Tell me.
The same people who secured the area and kept people in. So I feel like they're protecting themselves. They're covering their asses from people really coming in. This is an opinion, but it seems like they're overly protective of that area, and they don't want people to see kind of what happened, the evidence of the negligence.
They don't want to see people removing evidence, altering evidence. First,
Because
eye accounts, watching Red Cross go in there, with people with the Red Cross vest and attire on, changing and taking things out, moving stuff around.
But at the same time, I mean, they're first responders. They are there. They have to see it every day. So
I think
their
there's
heart
a
goes out to them in that sense.
There's a point when, again, it comes back to that acting and what's that impetus of acting and not acting, and doing what you're told versus doing what you know is right, because you have a human critical thinking brain and you're not a robot. Like a robot, if it's given the orders to like keep everybody there in their cars, like, okay, but a human, I don't think there's as much as an excuse.
No,
They
were acting like AI. I mean, you could say worse than AI. 'Cause AI might have been like, all right, come past these roadblocks. Like RoboCop would have been cool with it.
actually directed those people towards safety and facilitated safety, knowing
Yeah,
the rest of the data.
Sorry, that was a dumb statement, but you don't really need the intelligence of AI or like a smart city or anything to correct the failures. You just need competent people.
That can think for themselves.
Right.
Though that's not I mean, we've spoken about it in multiple episodes. The Rockefellers and the institution of the Industrial Revolution, and creating a bunch of factory workers, creating people that will, and the whole education system, the DOE, creating humans that will take orders and not question authority.
Yeah.
Listen, like,
What other failure? You saw the cop. Man, I didn't even know about that. You're telling me about this one cop.
Oh yeah, there was this uncle. There's some uncle, and he was always down there, and I heard an account of this uncle who, I mean, there were handfuls of people that defied those orders and escaped outside of regions where they weren't supposed to go or weren't supposed to travel, but they defied those orders because they knew better. They were able to think for themselves, and they're like, we're not going to be engulfed by these flames. We're going to survive. But that police officer was, time and time again, he was confronted. And time again.
Is it on record on smartphones or anything like that? Recorded? Or like by personal accounts? Stories?
I've heard a couple of personal accounts.
Wow.
Yeah.
And at that point, you're just like, all right, I'm going to go to the water now. And who knows if they survived from the water, in the water.
Well, 183. I mean, it was reported 183 bodies washed up on Lanai. And that's not even
What?
talking about, you didn't hear about that?
No.
Think about all the people that swam to the waterfront for safety from the fire. Because they were trapped in. It was coming in over this side. It was behind them. It was coming in on the other side. All those people from the neighborhood, the only place they would go in a state of fire is the water. So now you get to the water. You're in the water. If you don't have anything to float on, ask yourself, go out in the ocean. How long can you float in that ocean before you can't float and stay afloat anymore? Is it 10 minutes? Mm-hmm. Is it an hour?
And the winds are blowing you
Is
away.
it 5 hours? And the heat from the fire is rolling over the waters. The only respite you have is to go under the water. Okay, how long can you hold your breath? You come back up and it's scalding hot. It's filled with smoke. You're breathing in all this smoke. Okay, now you're suffocating on top of the water. Mm-hmm. Now you're drowned. Now you're washing up along Lanai. One of the 183.
183. Wow.
And that's just the ones reported and the ones pulled out. Where are the rest?
There's so many missing.
There's so many missing.
It's the stories about the children are really haunting.
I mean,
Who were left at home because school, because of the winds, was it? Or their school was
it a
not in
holiday?
session that day.
yeah. Why did they call school off?
No, they called school off for some reason.
And so all the kids were at home, sometimes alone, because what's a parent to do? They have to go to work. They got to go to work so they can pay that rent because they're
Support the
living
kids.
check by check, living check by check. And if you miss a couple days of work, now you're not paying your bills. So what do? You leave your kid at home? You're not paying a babysitter. There's what childcare is there? They were supposed to be in school. You're not prepared for that. And so what? You leave them at home watching TV, and all of a sudden now, even if there were sirens, what are they going to do? Who's taking care of them to lead them out? You just have a bunch of kids coming outside being like, well, what do we do?
You have these kids and they have no time to save themselves. The fire's moving so fast.
Their safest places in their closet or under their bed.
Yeah.
Their home is the safest place. They don't leave their home. They all died in their home.
A lot of, yeah. Yeah. We don't know the number, right? But, man, it's devastating to think about. And a lot of people want answers. And it's so hard to go there and just try to explore the answers because it's such a dark place you have to go to mentally.
Is it even okay to talk about? It's like, is this how we grieve? Is this how we process?
Yeah.
It's like, or is it insensitive to even bring up what happened? And where and who is, like, is it important to like point out the faults and say that person and that
Yes.
person is why all of those children are dead, why all of those Kapuna and why all these thousands of people are dead?
Truth matters because of next time preventing.
I still think, what are we doing to prevent further fires from happening? I mean, the power lines weren't the only thing that was happening. I mean, Kula's on fire. Olinda's on fire. Kie's like, how is it that all these fires are happening all over the island? Like, are they going to stop it? Why would it just pop in for around Lionsgate 8/8? You know, why is it just popping around on those few days? And now what? It's all of a sudden specially done?
Mm-hmm.
There's more land breaks that need to happen. So many communities that are on the border of fields and fields of dry, dead grass and small brush.
Actually, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the only reason why I still have a home in North Kihei is because of the construction workers. Because of Goodfellows and Alpha, who showed up with bulldozers, and the one fire truck
Are you kidding me?
that was inadequate in putting out the fire that was coming in on our home and our neighborhood. The fire truck, he did what he did, and then he drove away with his empty truck. There were 15 police officers and one firefighter, and the police officers were standing there to control us.
Yeah.
The people who lived in our homes.
Sounds about right.
That were spraying down our fence line and standing there with hoses, standing there ready to like fight this fire to protect our homes. And the police are sending us away from this, and it's like, no, evacuate. You got to get out of here. You got to leave. You got to go back home. I'm like, this is our home. This is my home. And we're going to protect our home. And he like gives this snide comment of like, oh yeah, why don't you go help the firefighter? It's like, I will. I would be happy to help this firefighter save my home. Wow. And they couldn't do anything. Police aren't doing anything. We're all just staring at this fire. And it wasn't until the bulldozers. I'm like, somebody get on the radio with those bulldozers way over there. Get them over here. Because if they're not here in the next half an hour, 20 minutes, 10 minutes, this whole community, this whole neighborhood is going to end up like Lahaina. It was the day after Lahaina. And they were like...
I can't believe he said that to you. Oh, what, you're going to help the firefighter? Yeah. That's a lot of gall to say that.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the attitude of police here. Sorry, maybe not all of them, but yeah.
It's a thing. It's a thing. To protect and serve.
You got heated there. Let's see why. Shouldn't say heated. It's sensitive to say that, but yeah.
So yeah,
Smart cities.
and
Smart cities the solution, or just well, do you think that would help it? I guess you look at Kaanapali,
yeah,
that area, and they have, it seems like that's well protected by the water, because they were by the rights to the water to use on the golf course, and the golf course serves as like a wet area, and that's nice and lush and green, and the fire is probably not going to reach that, even if it never started there. But my fear is that like Lahaina is just going to be another Kaanapali as they rebuild it. That would suck.
you mean more resorts and more hotels and more
exactly.
high rises? Yeah, there's a lot of developers like eager, greedy children, like with their little noses on the window ledge of a candy shop, just waiting and salivating at prime real estate, oceanfront real estate, and all the ways that they could develop and make money. This is not about making money, world. This is about restoring a piece of land, one small piece of land, back to the way that it can be in a sustainable and connected and cultural way. Like, we can bring it back to some ancient ways, like bring the water back. It really starts with the water. And right now, the golf courses and resorts have the water. We need to give the water back to the land and the people.
That's one of the failures, is the water.
Huge.
And another one is,
It's a very big one on the checklist of what happened and why it was allowed to happen.
100%.
Water.
seems obvious, but like, yeah, they have the money and they bought the water. You can, with money, the corporation, anything is possible.
There's so many pieces coming through right now about the history and how the Hawaiian kingdom under Hawaiian rule was taken over and occupied, colonized by the corporations, by essentially another set of 5 families. You know, I won't list them, but these families, these corporation families that came in, set up shop, and produced goods, you know, for the rest of the world. At what cost? And at what cost of a whole culture? I mean, it was so close to being killed off, silenced. You know, through the song, through the language, through the dance, through the practices of the Hawaiian, Polynesian, the island people.
Yeah, it's not just the land that they cleared. A lot of the autonomous culture and just turned it into, it's just greed takes over everything here. Capitalism.
And so how do we move forward where the people are represented versus the corporate powers and those entities where their main focus or only focus is money and shareholders and producing profit? It's like, can we please come back to a harmonious state where this land is providing for the people? And not just the people, but for also the people that are coming and enjoying this incredible paradise. But this land can sustain itself in a beautiful expression, in a beautiful way, a natural way. You know, I think we've talked about the ahu pua'a, these pie pieces.
Say that again?
Ahu
Apua'a.
pua'a. Yeah, and maybe
Apua'a.
I may be missing or adding a letter, but I'm very close. Ahu pua'a. The pie pieces that go from Mauka to Makai, from mountaintop to ocean, that provide everything that the community needs. You know, from the timber that they use for their canoes and their homes, to the freshwater streams, to the taro patches, to the ulu and banana trees, down to the coconut groves and the fishing, the farm fish, the fish traps, the fish enclosures, fish ponds. Thank you. And
you're welcome.
And the way of life that is completely sustainable. Like, it's a sustainable practice all around the island, where you have all the aspects that you need for community. And I think we can learn from the ancient ways and bring into practice these ancient techniques, ancient and true. And I think it's not contrived, it's not forced, it's not for profit. It just makes sense. These true and ancient ways. And I believe we have a great opportunity to come back to these true and ancient ways. I also think there is room to bring in a technological side. You know, is there room to bring in these sensors or different? We keep on hearing smart city. We keep on hearing sustainable island. What does that
It's almost
entail?
a cringy buzzword now.
It is, you know, mainly because there's some that believe that, I mean, these plans for a smart city were laid well before this fire, and now this fire has happened, and these people are coming forward being like, look, we already have a plan. It's a smart city. This hamster guinea pig experimental grounds for experiment, a world stage. We here in the middle of the ocean are on a world stage, and it's a testing ground. It's like, look, we can remember the terrible disasters. Oh, but aren't we so glad that we were able to design and figure out these smart cities where danger will never happen again.
think it'd be cool if we run an experiment and just have like one island be an ancient, live by the ancient ways, and then one island be like a smart city. AI runs, automates everything that it can.
Well, then maybe they can go do that over with Larry Ellis and Lanai. I mean,
Yeah.
if a billionaire bought an island, then why don't you rest of you
great idea.
billionaires just go hang out with Larry and leave Maui
Sadly.
to the people?
But I think the opposite has to be true. The billionaire has to buy an island and say, no, this is going to be the ancient island.
Sure.
Can't be. Because, like, yeah, you know what I mean. Because he can control, if you own the island as privately, you can control everything that happens on it. And, like, control any further development, technological.
Right.
Wise or, like, land-wise. Like, but does Lanai have the same geography that Maui does? It have, like, I guess it does, because an island has, like, a volcanic mountain.
It's like another shield volcano.
Okay.
Question mark. Tell us out there.
So you
Is
would
Lanai another shield volcano, or is it just another hump in the water?
There's got to be. I think every island. I was thinking, because Maui's like 2 big volcanoes. Every island has to be at least one volcano, right? Is that crazy?
I mean, is every mountaintop a volcano? I mean, if you look at Maui and the string of the Hawaiian Islands,
Mountain.
if you just drop the water level about 200 feet, it's one mountain range, right? And then just, water goes up. I mean, there's the whole plateau. I love the plateau in between and around Maui and Molokai and Lanai. It's what makes it such a perfect breeding grounds or birthing grounds for the blue whales. Humpback whales, thank you.
Blue whale.
Yeah, I don't think the blues come through. It's the humps. It's the hump to hump.
There. Yeah, it is such a... And, like, right now I can tell. Like, if I just look at the mountaintop of an island, I know which island it is. It's pretty wild. I was like, I didn't even know I could do that until I looked at one of my friend's Instagrams. And I was like, whoa, he's on Kauai, and I just instinctively knew.
Right?
Because Kauai, because it's older, it has more erosion. Like, if you look at smooth skin and wrinkly skin, it has more wrinkly land.
Oh, yeah.
Wrinkly hills.
Yeah.
You can really tell.
No, they each have their own personality.
Yeah.
It's like skylines. You look at any of the big cities, and they each have their iconic skylines. Hawaii, we have our mountain skylines, our mountain tops, and the character that they each hold. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no worries. There you go, Podge.
You guys are rocking it.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
You're rocking it. Thank you, Podge. Elvin Star.
What are we at, Podge?
Hour and 50.
Just wondering. All right.
1, 2, 3, 4. It's 12:34. I love this time.
But we started with the breath. Probably that was like 20 minutes.
Yeah. Oh man, looking at phones and all the things that then pull back in. What's that? It's framed so well.
Yeah.
So it's a contribution I like to act in.
But
It's our intergalactic Lahaina download.
I didn't hear what you guys were talking about the last half hour. I had the headphones in. It's rocking.
Nice.
Are you guys going to do more? You guys go on.
We should maybe find a sign off just so it's a clear ending to this episode. We were talking about skylines, and I wanted to kind of bring up Dubai because Dubai is like everything fresh and new, and they had like a World Fair kind of thing, a World Expo, and they kind of have an
can we do a
evolving
reset on that? Because you just kind of like...
slipped right into.
Yeah.
And we're back to Ben, and Ben riding the AI wave.
Talk about... All right. So, we can reset, but like other like smart cities. Is Dubai a smart city? Or there's there's a smart city that they're building. What is that called? The one they're building in Saudi Arabia. You know about that?
I know
one?
the wall. It's like
that's it.
It's like that walled city, and it's
The
like
walled
you can
city.
repeat it over and over. But I don't know enough about it to really talk about it. I even just mention it. I don't have the right word to like.
Let's mention it.
mention it. Is it in Saudi Arabia? I know it's in
It's
the
the
Middle East.
line or something. The Great Line. The Great.
The Great, I mean, it's not the Great Wall. It's not the Great Ring. Because Dubai, they're making this
Something simple.
huge ring. And I can actually talk a little bit about that one.
Just be like, and we're okay. Let's reset. So you were talking about Skyline, and then go ahead.
And we're back on Ben
And Ben.
riding the AI wave. We were just talking about the skylines and how each of the Hawaiian mountaintops has its own character and personality, its own presence upon the field. And bringing in, how is that connecting in with our smart city conversation?
Well, I think we have such a beautiful natural environment. Like Saudi Arabia just has like desert. And we have beautiful land. Like, why would we want to build a smart city when we have such natural beauty? They're building something like a walled-in, a big line of buildings, like this underground building structure.
I like to think
And
of,
it's called this.
ding, right? No, it's this repeatable sections of like walled in, contained
Yeah.
city. A multi, it's, you're saying it's going underground. I know it goes like really high.
Oh, yeah.
I like to think of like Game of Thrones, like the ice wall. It's essentially like that big. Like it's a giant ice wall, but it's a city inside of those walls. And it's like every, 3 blocks, 5 blocks, you're going to have the same kind of things. You're going to have your laundry and your grocery store and your restaurants and your school, and it just like repeats. But the idea that everything's sustainable within that walled city. Now, granted, you live inside of a wall.
It's an awesome prison.
It's an awesome, sustainable prison, and some would proclaim that you already live in a prison. It's just a little bit more open air,
Prison of your mind.
straight up. The prison that you choose to continue to live in and accept, or act in your uniqueness and your critical thinking of who and how you're living this life. But I think, it's like, is it the wall city? Is it the ring city? And then I was looking up, Dubai. They're everything progressive and technology, innovation, bringing it in. They had this World Fair, World Expo, where they were bringing through some of these futuristic and innovative, sustainable practices. They have they have these plans I'm going to say, the tallest building in the world, and now their plan is to create this huge ring that encompasses and surrounds the tallest building in the world. And this ring is made of 2, I believe, concentric rings that have this like parks and green and gardens and farming like within it. And there's this aspect of the solar energy and water catchment, and the whole ring itself acts as an air purifier for the city of Dubai, which I thought that was a nice touch. But essentially, all these businesses, parks, food being housed in this ring, again, in this contained reality that you could completely,
Air conditioned. It's you've got like
Even comes with air
essence of whatever kind of air, like a casino air.
oh wow,
Smell.
pump the
whatever.
oxygen into it. Well, I mean, grow all the gardens, and you're going to actually just pump it full of oxygen in a natural way that also produces food. Whoa.
You have enough. It takes a lot of plants to pump oxygen, though. I looked it up. Like I was like, how can I make more? Dude, just like one plant like that won't have any effect.
Right. But if it was a line or a wall of those plants, like if this whole wall was just all green,
It would look beautiful.
plants, it would look beautiful. Feel good. Feel alive.
Oh, dude.
I love how it feels when there's just a plant in a room, like much less a whole little gardenscape. Oh, get it?
I thought of a great idea just now.
Oh, let's hear it. Let's share.
Put like wallpaper, but it's just like a wall of plants.
Hmm.
And then we could use it for our podcast background one day. Another background. Last time we had like the art idea, green screen, but we could put the plant background as well. That would be interesting. Get as much plants as possible. I'm
that.
veering off here, Ben. We gotta end.
We're wrapping up here on the wave. The waves are settling down, and there's not much to catch. Cruising on here, but we here at Ben
And Ben,
riding the AI wave give our complete and sincerest our love and blessings to all those affected by the fires and to all those that have experienced disaster, who have experienced loss. May we each find what we need to come to a balanced place, to process in each our own ways, to come to a place of understanding and gratitude and love and service.
and healing is possible, even in the darkest of times. Healing is a possibility, even if it
Always.
takes a lot of time.
With great destruction and death, there is great potential for birth, rebirth, and creation. And so stepping fully and forward into the creation that is before us, and that task that each of us have a part to play. And so I ask all of you, what's your part? Where do you find yourself in this? In the invitation to lend a hand, to give where you can. Mahalo.
Mahalo.
Thank you very much. Aloha. Mahalo nui loa. This is Ben,
Ben.
and we have ridden the AI wave.